wonderful piece, this Menuet, by not J.S. Bach, which we thought, but by Christian Petzold, who was a family friend of the Bach family. And it appears in the Anna Magdalena notebook. Anna Magdalena was Bach's second wife, and she compiled a big volume, actually 2 volumes, of teaching pieces for their children. And the second volume, this piece appears in it. It's a wonderful G major, which is an easy key piece with the G major triads. And very interesting writing on this. This is 2-part harmony for the entire piece, except for measure 25 and 26. Very exciting moment in the piece. With this chart that I made, you can see the absolute symmetry. This has 4 systems, and it's only the A section once and twice, the little variation at the end of the repeat of that A, and then the B section, and different material. But look at the symmetry I marked in my music, that each of these lines or systems has 8 measures. It's beautifully symmetrical. I'd like to also point out, using the protractor, how I have bar lines aligned on the north-south grid. And that makes it really easy for me to compare the midpoint of the piece right here. Notice that in our B section, just looking at this, that we have all 8th notes in this measure and all 8th notes in this measure. That's so lovely how he lines that up at the second half of the B section. There isn't any other place in the piece that has all running notes, is what I call 8th notes. This is interesting. For the rhythm of it, it starts with quarter and then eighths. So the rhythm, that's a nice way to start teaching early piano students the ear for the rhythm, and to get that really in your ears, and the pulse of it is a big part, not just the notes. Let me start here with the opening as written. It's so pretty. The 5-finger pattern in measure 1, G major, and the broken 5th, measure 2. Now measure 3, that's not a C major 5-finger pattern. With the F sharp and down the octave. The outline of this, I like to play. Look at the left-hand outline. B, C, D. See, that was just falling down the 5-finger pattern. Broken triad on the G major. Now measure 2 of the second system, measure 10 here, has a variation by comparing here, measure 2 and measure 10. The left hand now fills out. Instead of holding on the B, he goes. It's fun. And this measure is filled out. Instead of just the B, running notes. So you can see that the second time I wrote it as A1 is a little more developed. It's a little more interesting. And you will need to definitely learn this with your hands alone. If you can't play the entire piece with your hands alone, you do not know it. When I was little, I couldn't play the hands alone. I could only play it hands together because of the rote memory. I just did it. But I didn't understand. My teacher at the time did not teach the importance of taking the hands alone for the entire piece. So now, going on to the B section here, this is absolutely wonderful. Look at the distance between these two. This is measure 17. It's so far apart. It's really a 10th, and another octave makes a 17th. Don't think of it as 17th, just think of it as an expanded 10th. And if I play the downbeats, starting at measure 17, listen to these beautiful parallel lines, so far apart, descending, and meeting here. That's still a 10th. Going on here, our first set of running notes, all running. It's so pretty. Do you notice how slowly I'm playing? This is how you must begin. You must begin slowly and put these intervals into your ears. Let's start again here with the running notes. 10th, 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 octave. All right, now we come to the last line of the piece. And I took some colored pencils here and marked this in. Almost without fail, I have to draw the attention to my students that we have for the first time in measure 25 here in the left hand, the emergence of two parts, the tenor and the bass. Up until now it's just been the single left hand line. And we know that because we have a rest and then an upward stem half note. That's the tenor line. The tenor, which I put in the turquoise, sounds like this. In the counting of 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, rest, 2, 3. The bass begins on the first beat, and you know that it's the half note and then the quarter, half, quarter, quarter. And that will count with the rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It must be sustained. If I take this and redistribute it for the two hands, this is what I would have, the right hand playing the tenor and the left playing the bass. Listen to this now. I can control the dynamics. I'm going to play it first with bringing out the tenor more so you can really hear that tenor line. Now I'm going to bring out the bass more. So somewhere in between those two is the kind of differentiation that you will want to make. For instance, that's an important point. And then I'll wrap up here with all the running notes. Now you can add ornaments in this piece. There are suggested ornaments here. That was the performance practice of the day, to add these. What does an ornament do? We have to remember that the piano was not in existence at this point. It was only the harpsichord that could only get forte or piano. We couldn't make crescendos. So in order to make the note bloom and have a little bit of more like this, we add an ornament. And that adds interest and color. It almost makes it more a broader spectrum instead of this. See, it just gives a little brightness to that note, makes it stand out. So I'm going to play the little piece for you now. Should be repeated, but I'm going to go on. B section. Enjoy playing your minuet. Practice each of these sections out of order and out of context, and try playing it with your eyes closed. You'll be amazed how much intelligence are in your fingers, having practiced correctly every time. Thank you. Happy practicing.